So one thing I really like to do for sub bass on plugged basses, not on sustained one, I don't really know why, but I like to, is separating the sub bass on a separate track instead of using the audio effect track. So let's look at it. So here you have this sub, and it's taking the MIDI signal from the bass. Here you have operator, so pretty simple. I just have these envelopes set like this, one voice, retrigger, the filter. And so probably I like to do this because it's easier to control it separately, because I can use a separate like sidechain, for example. Instead of sidechaining everything together, I can still have different sidechains on the channel of the audio effect track, but I think it becomes a bit too complicated, a bit too tricky to navigate. And I can also like monitor the relative levels between the main bass and the sub bass, like at the glance here, along with all the other instruments, instead of having to click on the bass, see the relative levels in the audio effect track, and then adjust them accordingly. And every time I touch the main bass, I have to eventually like counterbalance the bass if I want to keep it at the same volume. So I like it to keep it this way. And another thing is that it's way easier to manage when it's kicking in or not, because I have the mixer speaker on automation line here. I can still do the same with the channel, with the chain in the audio effect track, but it can get lost in the source with all the other automation line, and I just can't pay attention to it much if I blend it with the rest of the thing, especially if the bass has many automation or other stuff going on. And eventually, this is not the case, but it's still like an option. I can route it differently. If I have the sub bass loaded as a parallel chain in the audio effect tracks in the instrument rack, I just have the bass and the sub going into the same amount of group processing, while if I have them separate, I can just also keep like the sub completely unlinked from the rest, from the other groups, and come into the master and go into the master like as clean as possible, as unaffected as possible. I mean, it makes the whole thing a bit more intuitive for me, because yes. So that's it. I know I'm a bit vague about these things, but I still hope it makes sense. So that's it, and see you in the next one.